Ready to step back in time, back to the 1920s.
Ooh, sounds fun.
We're going to be diving deep into Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. We're
Nice.
going to be using excerpts straight from the novel itself.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to follow the journey of Jake Barnes and his companions
Okay.
and kind of navigate love, loss, the aftermath of World War I, all that good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, The Sun Also Rises really, what's intriguing is how Hemingway structures it. Like the story unfolds chronologically, right? Mirroring the character's restless movement from Paris to Spain. And that timeline itself, it's like a powerful tool for understanding their emotional journeys.
So we start in Paris, the
Yeah.
City of Lights.
Yes.
We meet Jake Barnes, our narrator,
Hmm.
American veteran struggling with, well, physical and emotional wounds from the war.
Yeah, and you see Hemingway's famous iceberg theory at play here. What we see on the surface, like what's going on with Jake's narration, it's just as important as what is explicitly stated. For instance, Jake's impotence.
Mhm.
That becomes a symbol not just of like his own personal trauma, but also of a generation's disillusionment and inability to like fully engage with life after the war.
It's really fascinating how Hemingway, doesn't shy away from these difficult topics. You really get a sense of that tension, that underlying restlessness, not just with Jake, but with his whole circle of friends. So tell me about this group.
Well, we got Lady Brett Ashley. She's a captivating, independent woman, central figure in the story, object of Jake's affection. But their relationship's complicated, right? Because of his injuries from the war.
Yeah, and that unfulfilled desire, I mean, it just adds another layer of complexity, not just to Jake's character, but to the whole dynamic of the group.
Absolutely. Then you have Robert Cohn, wealthy writer. He's deeply infatuated with Brett. And she's, engaged to Mike Campbell. He's volatile, like drunk Scotsman. And then you have Bill Gorton, Jake's friend. He brings like this touch of humor and camaraderie.
So they're all kind of grappling with their own struggles in a way and searching for something to give their lives meaning. Would you say that kind of aimlessness ties into this idea of the lost generation?
Absolutely. Like Hemingway captures the essence of this generation. It was coined by Gertrude Stein, right?
Right.
This generation that came of age during the war. They're haunted by their experiences, disillusioned with traditional values, and struggling to find their place in this world that just feels fragmented, uncertain,
Yeah.
like they don't belong.
And this search for meaning ultimately leads them to Pamplona, Spain,
Yeah.
for the San Fermin Festival.
Yes.
So what significance does this journey hold within the story's timeline?
Well, the journey to Pamplona, it marks a real turning point in the novel.
Okay.
It's this deliberate escape from the ennui of Paris,
Yeah.
a plunge into the intensity and chaos of the fiesta. This shift in setting, it allows Hemingway to really explore the characters' desires and their capacity for self-destruction more fully.
So it becomes more than just a backdrop.
Yeah.
It's like a catalyst for the events that unfold.
Exactly.
Right.
As the group travels to Spain, the tension really builds.
Yeah.
We see Jake's internal conflict about Brett and Khan's obsession with her. It just intensifies, fueled by Mike's drunken taunts, which hint at this potential explosion.
Oh, wow. And then they arrive in Pamplona, and it's totally transformed by the energy of this festival. And, Hemingway's descriptions are so vivid, you can practically hear the music, smell the wine,
Yeah.
feel the anticipation in the air.
Hemingway, he masterfully uses these sensory details to immerse the reader right in the atmosphere of the fiesta. This vibrant, chaotic environment. It's like a stage where all their emotions, their desires start to surface, bubble up to the top.
The running of the bulls is like a pivotal event.
Yeah.
This dangerous spectacle that draws huge crowds. And it seems to hold this particular fascination for characters like Jake and Bill. What do you make of that attraction to this event?
I think for Jake and Bill, the bullfight represents a confrontation with mortality, a way to feel alive in a world that's lost all meaning for them. It's raw,
Yeah.
visceral, and it contrasts so sharply with that emotional detachment that they have.
So it becomes symbolic.
Yes. And, it introduces these themes of masculinity and courage.
Yeah.
Remember, Jake, he's grappling with this wound, this impotence that undermines his manhood.
Right.
And the bullfight, with all this display of bravery and skill, allows him to engage with this, but from a safe distance.
It seems like Hemingway is very carefully layering this story, weaving together all these external events, these internal conflicts.
Yeah.
So what happens next in this timeline of emotions and events?
Well, the fiesta introduces a key character, Pedro Romero. He's this young, talented bullfighter who captures Brett's attention. And this sparks a chain reaction that throws the group's dynamic into, like, total disarray. Romero, like, he's a wrench in the works, right? This already complicated situation.
Right.
He's young, handsome, incredibly skilled in the bull ring, you know, embodies this pure, almost naive passion.
Right.
The others, especially Brett, find irresistible.
Brett's attraction to Romero makes sense
Yeah.
because he represents, an escape from the cynicism, the disillusionment that she and everyone else are steeped in. He embodies that vitality, that authenticity they crave.
Yeah, and this is where the timeline, like, is crucial.
Okay.
The fiesta, right? A week of intense experiences.
Right.
It accelerates everything. The emotional trajectory of the whole story.
Huh.
They're caught in a whirlwind of passion, jealousy, self-destructive behavior.
So the fiesta, meant to be an escape,
Yeah.
becomes a catalyst for their, unraveling.
Exactly. Brett's affair with Romero is like a powder keg.
Oh.
Cone, he's driven to despair by Brett's rejection, lashes out, first at Romero, then at Jake.
Wow.
Mike, already struggling, spirals further into drunken outbursts.
It's heartbreaking to see how their attempts to escape their pain only lead to more suffering. And Jake's caught in the middle of it all. He has to bear witness to the woman he loves pursuing this relationship that, we know is doomed.
Jake's role as the observer, like, it's crucial to understanding this. He's both a participant, right, and this detached narrator, filtering everything through his own, wounded perspective. His impotence, both literally and symbolically, becomes a metaphor for his inability to act, to intervene in this destructive course of events.
Almost like he's trapped by his own powerlessness.
Yeah.
Forced to just watch as everything falls apart.
Yeah, and this sense of paralysis reflects a broader theme, right?
Yeah.
The lost generations struggle to find agency in a world that feels increasingly chaotic, meaningless. They're adrift, caught in this cycle of seeking pleasure and experiencing pain.
And it makes me think about, how Hemingway structures the whole story around the bullfight. It's not just a spectacle.
Right.
It's this recurring symbol.
Yeah.
How does this connect to their struggles?
The bullfight represents this complex interplay of themes: courage, artistry, confrontation with death.
Okay.
And for Jake, who's drawn to the bullfight despite his limitations, it becomes a way for him to, engage with these themes vicariously.
Right.
He admires Romero's grace and skill in the ring, qualities that he himself wants but can't embody.
So the bullfight is like a mirror,
Yeah,
reflecting their internal battles, their desires.
precisely. And it highlights the contrast, the fleeting beauty of the bullfight and the enduring pain of their lives.
Right.
The bullfight is like this heightened intensity, a dance with death, demanding total presence. Yet, even in its beauty, there's this underlying tragedy. The bull dies.
Right.
A reminder of the fragility of life.
That sense of impermanence seems to echo throughout the novel.
Hmm.
Even Brett and Romero's passionate affair is short-lived. Why do you think Hemingway chose to portray their relationship this way?
Brett and Romero's relationship is a microcosm, right,
Okay.
of the lost generation's search for meaning and connection in a fragmented world.
Right.
Their love is intense but fleeting, doomed by their own demons
Right.
and the societal constraints. Brett, despite her free spirit, is trapped by her self-destructive patterns and her fear of commitment.
Yeah.
Romero, bound by tradition, can't offer her stability.
It's a tragic realization. They find a genuine connection, but can't sustain it. As the fiesta comes to an end, what happens to this group? They were so intertwined.
The end of the fiesta is another turning point in the timeline.
Yeah.
They're exhausted, disillusioned, have to face the consequences of their actions.
Right.
The camaraderie, it's gone, shattered, replaced by emptiness and regret. And the journey back to Paris, filled with this heavy silence.
It's a stark contrast.
Yeah, to their arrival in Pamplona.
So the fiesta, which began as an escape, becomes like a crucible,
Yeah.
forging their individual paths.
Exactly. They scatter, each heading in a different direction, burdened.
Right.
The ending is intentionally ambiguous.
Yeah.
Hemingway doesn't offer easy answers.
Right.
We're left to wonder what becomes of them. Can they heal from the wounds of the war and their own self-destructive choices?
The story really leaves you pondering their fates. And I wonder about Brett's statement near the end. She says, "I'm paying for it all now." What do you think she means by that?
It's a powerful line.
Yeah.
It encapsulates the cost of living a life driven by impulse and self-gratification. Brett, despite her outward charm, her freedom, she's haunted by the consequences. Her pursuit of pleasure has left her empty, alone.
Right.
This echoes a broader theme that Hemingway is exploring,
Okay.
the search for meaning in a world where traditional values have eroded.
So Hemingway seems to suggest that true happiness can't be found in fleeting moments of pleasure or escape,
Right.
but rather in confronting the complexities of life and accepting responsibility for our choices.
Right, and that's what makes The Sun Also Rises so timeless. It speaks to our universal desires. The longing for connection, the struggle with loss, the search for meaning in this world that can often feel chaotic and indifferent.
It strikes me that this journey, both geographically and emotionally, it kind of has like a cyclical feel.
Mm.
They start in Paris, escape to Spain, and they end up back where they began. But they're like forever changed.
Yeah, you've hit on a key element of Hemingway's structure.
Okay.
The novel is framed by these two cities, right?
Yeah.
Each representing a different aspect of their internal world.
Okay.
Paris, with its cafes, intellectual circles, symbolizes their disillusionment and ownlessness.
Right.
Spain, with its festivals and bullfights, represents their search for like authentic experience and their confrontation with mortality.
And yet, despite the stark contrast between these settings, they're carrying their emotional baggage with them the whole time,
Yeah.
unable to escape.
Exactly. Their physical journey, it's like mirroring their internal struggles. They're constantly in motion, seeking distraction, seeking escape, but really they're running from themselves.
And it makes me think about Hemingway's writing style.
Yeah.
It's so spare, so understated, yet incredibly powerful. How does his use of language contribute to, like, the impact of the novel?
Hemingway's prose, it's like an iceberg. Much of the meaning is like beneath the surface.
Right.
He avoids melodrama, sentimentality, and relies on precise descriptions and dialogue
Yeah.
to convey emotions. This creates this authenticity, drawing you in without explicitly stating their thoughts and feelings.
It's a style that demands active participation from the reader.
Yeah.
We have to fill in the gaps, interpret the silences, connect the dots.
Exactly. And this is where this concept of the lost generation, it comes back into play.
Okay.
Hemingway doesn't offer easy answers or solutions to their dilemmas. Instead, he presents their experiences with this kind of detached objectivity,
Right.
forcing us to confront the complexities of their struggles, the ambiguity of their futures.
This deep dive has really made me appreciate just how much is going on beneath the surface of The Sun Also Rises. It's a novel that stays with you and makes you reflect on your own search for meaning.
And it continues to resonate with readers almost a century later.
Yeah.
Hemingway captures something timeless about the human experience.